Hello friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel DS Tech Mirror. In today's video, we will learn what is the difference between patch function, update function and UpdateIf function in PowerApps. All these three functions are used to update the data sources in PowerApps. By data sources, I mean the local data sources, for example, collection in PowerApps or table in PowerApps, and the real data sources like SharePoint or SQL table or any other data sources. With this, the next question which should come is why we have three different functions to update the data sources. That means all these three functions are different in some way and they have their own strength and weaknesses. So let's go ahead in Power Apps and see what is the basic difference between these three functions and in which scenario you can use these individual functions. So guys, for demo purpose, I will be using this SharePoint list called appraisal, and this is my Power Apps. In this, what I have done, I have already added this SharePoint list over here under data sources. Then I have this data table, and at the bottom I have created these three buttons. Now on these three buttons, I will be writing my code, and then we will see what is the difference between these three functions. So I'll start with this patch functions. So using patch function, you can update individual records. When I say individual records, that means at a time you can update any one single record. You can update or you can create as well. If you want to do multiple updates, in that case, you have to use for all loop. Without using for all loop, you cannot update or create multiple records in a SharePoint list. So let's see how this patch function will work. So I'll select this button and I'll come to the on select. So over here I'll get the intelligence. Now I have to select the data source. Appraisal is my list. Then I have to select the record, which record I want to update. Now if I want to create any new record, what I have to do, I will be using this defaults, and here I will mention my data sources. This is the syntax to create a new record, and then over here I have to mention the column values which are mandatory. Over here I have title, name, feedback and department. So I'll try to provide the values for all these four columns. So I'll start with title. I'll say title. Here also you will get the intelligence, and I'll say patch create. Next is department. Department I will say HR. Then I have rating. Let me see the column name. Column name is name feedback. So I'll select the name. Name would be, let's say, test user 05, and last is the feedback. And feedback would be, I'll give any of the existing value, let's say exceptional. Now this is done. Over here I'm getting an error because name is a people picker field in SharePoint. I would not be able to provide a text value. Over here I have to provide the record value. Over here you can see it is saying how you can over here you can see the type for this argument name does not match. So over here I will directly type how you can update a people picker field. Otherwise I have created a separate video where I have discussed how to work with special fields in Power Apps. Special field means people picker, lookup column, choice column, multi choice column. All these fields I have covered in a special video. Over here I will directly copy paste the code. So this is the code to update the people picker field. We have to put this object and provided the email ID for claims and display name and email. In display name, you can provide the display name of the user. In email property and claims property, provide the email ID. And then we provided the feedback value, which is the single line of text. Now let's see whether this code will create a new record over here. I'll press the Alt button in my keyboard and I'll click on patch. And here you could see it has created this new record over here, patch create test user 05. So with the help of patch, this is how you can create a new record. Now we will see how we can modify this record. Now we will modify this record. This is the typo which is there. Now let's try to modify this. So what I will do, again I will select this patch, and for now I'll comment out this code because we have already created this record. Now we will see how we can modify. I'll copy paste as it is, and here I'll put it. And now let's see what all change we have to make. First of all, when you have to modify a record, over here default will not work. We have to provide the record ID to the patch function, or from this list somehow we have to explain to the patch function that this is the particular record where you have to go and modify the values. Now how we can do that? For that we will make use of the lookup function. So what I'll do, I'll say lookup. What lookup will do? Lookup will give me the first matching record, and I'll say what is the data source. Appraisal is my data source, and what is the condition? I'll say ID, and for now I will hard code the value. My ID is the 8. So wherever the record with ID 8 will is there, what I'm saying is update these many values. So I do not want to update the all the records or all the fields. I just wanted to update the title field, and I'll say patch modify. That's it. Now let's say, now I'll again click on this patch button. Again I press the alt key in my keyboard and I'll click on it, and you could see automatically it modified this particular record. So this is how we can create a record and modify a record. Now for example, you want to do bulk update. For example, you want to modify all the records with ID greater than 4. That means you want to modify the record for 5, 6 and 8. Now in this you could see we cannot provide, you know, multiple values. For example, let's say if I use filter function over here, I'll say filter because filter will give me all the values, and I'll say ID greater than 5. Now here I can see this error. There's an error with the delegation warning, and also it is saying expected a record value instead. It is because it is giving a table, but it is expecting one single record. That means patch function will only work for a single record. Now if you want to update multiple record with this, what you have to do, you have to use for all loop. I'll just show you how you can do that very quickly. Over here I'll pass this lookup only, and meanwhile we'll say how we'll modify this. So at the top what I'll do, I'll or let's do one thing. I'll add another piece of code for this, and we will leave it as it is and say bulk update. Now bulk update, I'll first of all, what we need is we want the all the records which we want to update. I'll use this filter function. I'll say filter. I forgot to put this full semicolon over here. Now this is working. Filter, again appraisal list, and I'm saying ID greater than 8, sorry, greater than 5. Give me all the records where ID is greater than 5. Now what ought it will do, it will give me all the values. Over here I will ignore the delegation warning because in our case we have only limited records. We are not going to face this delegation warning. But in case if you are facing this delegation warning, we can find some other way. So let's take an example. We want to modify all the records where feedback is exceptional. Instead of exceptional, we want to make it good. Let's say company has decided not to give any exceptional rating this year. So let's take this particular scenario, and I'll say feedback is equal to exceptional. So now what it will do, it will give me multiple records. Now on this I will run a for loop, but before that I will comment out this code as well. Okay, now on the top of this I will add for all loop. Now for all loop will work for this particular case. Now for all, if you see this for all, it is saying it needs second argument as well. It is expecting two arguments, so I'll put comma over here, and then at the top you could see first is the source, and then this is the formula. So source, this is the filter function, the it will give us a table that will work as the data source. Now next what we will do, we will put this patch function as it is. I'll copy this patch function from here and I'll paste it here, and let's see how we will modify it. Let's see what is the error. The function cannot operate on the same data source that is used in for all. So to overcome this, what we can do, because it is saying for all is operating on the same data source, and inside this also we are modifying the same. So what I can do, I can use one collection. I will say clear collect, and then I'll put everything whatever present inside this filter. I'll say collection update, or I'll say collection appraisal. That's it. Simple collection I will create. and inside this I will put this. Now this will give me a collection, and I'll use this collection over here instead of directly updating a SharePoint list. Now that error is gone, I will put this format text inside this patch function. Instead of title, this time we will update the feedback and we will make it, and let's see what are the existing values. It is good. Let's make it good. Still we have to make this fetching this record. Right now we are hard coding the value. We have to make this process dynamic. So what I'll do, id is equal to, I'll say this record, because what for all will do. Now this is a collection. Inside this for all, sorry, my bad, what I have to do, I have to completely remove this filter function and I have to just put a collection. Actually I've replaced it inside the filter function, so I overlooked that. Now this is fine. Okay, and I'll say this record, I'll explain you this code, this record.id, and it should work now. I'll put format text. Now what we are doing, whatever the records we have to update, we have collect all these records in a collection. We have run the for all loop on that particular collection, and inside the for all I have used this patch function. But now by now we know patch function will update only single record at a time, or create a single record at a time without a loop. So inside this patch function, what I am doing, it is running, for all is running over this collection, and for this particular record I've used this record dot id. With this we are getting this individual record and we are updating the feedback. Now let's see if this will work. What it should do, it should remove 1 2 3 exceptional ratings to good. I'll go to the play mode and I'll click on patch. It is running behind the scene and we got some error. Okay, so I was expecting this error. So I'll tell you, if you are facing this error, what you can do is, this is a strange error. Even I am not sure what is the root cause for that. Just to overcome that, what you can do, just type as current record. Earlier I worked with this record also, but somehow recently it stopped working. So use just put this as over here and put the current record.id, and now it should work. I'll click on patch and you could see it updated all the records. So this is how you can do bulk update with patch. So why I have done so much of coding along with you, just to showcase you, if you are modifying a single record, patch is a good function to work with, but in case to modify multiple records it becomes a bit difficult. So for us, if you want to modify bulk updates, for us the better option would be UpdateIf. I will come to update later on, but let me show you how it is efficient as compared to patch. So now I'll select this patch UpdateIf button. I'll go to on select. Now wherever we have rating good, I want to convert it to exceptional. Same thing. Now you'll see how quickly I can do with the help of UpdateIf. So let's say UpdateIf. Now see the difference. Again, it's need the collection. I want to update this appraisal list. Second, it needs the condition. Now over here, there's no need to use filter or look up anything. Just put your condition and it is smart enough to filter everything. What I will do, I'll give the condition. My condition is feedback is equal to good. That's it. And as a last, over here, I have to tell the records which I have to modify. I have to modify only the feedback. So I'll say exceptional. In case you want to modify, or in case you want to modify other fields, you can just put one comma and you could see all the other fields are available. You can very well do that. So now I'll click on this button, update if, and we should see it has updated all the records. Now see, if I go to this patch function, see the amount of code we have done to do the bulk update. We have to create a collection, put a filter, for all loop, all these things I have to do. And this entire code using update if I can write in one line. So this is what I wanted to show you, what is the basic difference between patch and update if. So whenever you are doing bulk update, instead of using this for all, I would say, as you know, you start using this update if it is very efficient compared to your for all loop when it comes to bulk update. If you are doing single update or modifying single record, I would say continue using patch if function. Now we have come to the last function, that is the update. So the difference between update and patch is both of them can update the existing record. What patch actually do, it modify the existing record. What update will do, it will delete the record and it will create a new one. Let's see. For example, I'll select this. Now I will select this update on select event. I'll type update. Now collection old and new. First of all, close this bracket. Otherwise, if we are writing a complex code, it becomes very difficult to find which bracket we are missing. Okay, now collection is my appraisal list. Now, which is the old one? Our record value. So we have to, you know, tell this update function which record it has to modify. Let's say ID. Now you see it will not working in the same way like updative. Over here again, you have to take help from the lookup function to update a single record. So I'll say appraisal, comma, ID is equal to 5. And what update we want? We want to modify for 5 we have need improvement. Let's make it good. Okay. So feedback and I'll make it good. That's it. So this code is fine. Now I'll go and click on it. Now see, ID is 5, test user 04, need improvement. It should turn into good. I'll click on update. I got an error. Field ID is required. Why? Because it is creating a new record. And while creating a new record, it is asking because ID is a required field. Although SharePoint will provide it automatically, but it is asking us. So I'll go back to the code, because if I provide the ID field over here, then it will say that this is a read-only field. If let's say I'll say 10 because I know it's not there, and this is related to the feedback. Okay, fine. Now if I click on this update again, the specified column is generated by the server and can't be specified. Again, what I told you earlier, if I provide the ID field, it will say that it is provided by the server already, because SharePoint will automatically generate. So you cannot use update function to update your, I would say, actual data sources, but with this update function you can work with the internal collection. So I will show you that as well, but before that I'll remove this ID from here. So there is no way you can update in this particular scenario. You can update it. If I go over here and again click on update, this time it will say ID is missing. So it's kind of a deadlock. Now let's quickly create a collection and let's see how this will work with the collection, internal collection, as compared to the patch function. So what I will do, I'll go to this uh, update button, and here I will create a collection. Okay, and I'll say, so this is the local collection which I have created now, and I'll try to make use of this update function to modify this collection. Before that, just to get rid of this error icon, it is because it is still in the last context. What I'll say, I'll go in the play mode, I'll click on this and it will create the collection. I'll come over here, see that error is gone, collection test update, and here you could see this collection is there. 1 2 3 4. Yes, because I'll have to just minimize this. Yeah, if you see, we have all the 4 values. Now we will update this collection with the help of this update. Now let's start update. Okay, and what I wanted to update, this collection test update, comma, which field. Now let's see whether this will give us ID. No, again I have to use the lookup only. So that is another thing, it is not as smart as update if. And here I will do the update lookup. I'll want call test update, comma, ID I can take any column. For example, I want to modify this record with ID 4. Okay, what is this error? Okay, yes, I have to provide this ID is equal to 4. And here, what I'll do for now, I'll just go with the rating. Rating need improvement. Now this is done. Now let's see. Okay, now let's see. Go to our collection. I'll select this collection. I'll say test update. And here you could see that it has modified the record, but this id is missing because what it tried, it deleted this record, existing record with id 4, and tried to recreate the another record. But while creating this new record, we have not provided the id, and that's where it is blank. We provided the same rating, so it created with this value need improvement. So let me try to do it again. Now what I will do, now this collection is created. Now I'll let's try to modify the value with id 3, and let's say we'll make it good. Okay. Now guys, what will happen? This id 3 will become blank and rating will change to good, but this id 4 will this record which is right now, which is blank with the id. Let me just push it to a bit up. Yeah, just see this collection. Right now the last record id is blank. This will again get filled because what will happen, first it will create the collection, and this then it will modify the record with id 3. That's where the record with id 4 will appear again. So please do not get confused. I'll press alt on my keyboard and will quickly press this button. Now let's see this collection again. See, id 3 become blank, rating got changed to good. So with this we can say update, what it does, while try to modify record, it will delete the existing one and try to recreate another. That's where it need all the fields for a particular record. If it is mandatory, it will give you an error, you have to provide it. If it is non-mandatory, it will be blank. So guys, with this we reach to an end of this video, and before I close it, I will give you a very quick summary of this particular video. Use this patch function to modify records. Continue using that one if you are already using, but when you are doing any bulk update, shift to UpdateIf. If you wanted to know what is the difference between patch and update, update will delete the existing record and recreate another, and it would be needing all the fields for a particular record to update. If it is mandatory and you are not providing, you will see an error. Otherwise, for non-mandatory, it will be blank. It will update with the blank values. On the other hand, with patch, you just have to provide the value which you want to modify. That's it. So this is the overall difference. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please like and share the video and subscribe to the channel to get notification for our upcoming videos. Till then, much love, keep learning. Thank you.